Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel, True Crime Files with Kathy. How is everyone doing this Easter weekend? If you're in the UK, Easter Sunday is tomorrow. And if you're anywhere else, I haven't got a clue. It's either yesterday or tomorrow. or no, yeah, tomorrow. Um, anyway, I thought I'd bring up a cold case today. Well, I say a cold case. It's not exactly cold case. Stefanie disappeared in September 2024. I think she was 13 at the time, off the top of my head, or 14. So she'd be sort of like 16, 17 years old now. Um, it's a shame that children go missing and then nothing seems to happen. They disappear without a trace. Um, as I say, is Stephanie Damron's missing story a crime, a choice, or something worse? We just don't know. There's no answers at all. She disappeared on the 23rd of September 2024 while in the care of a family friend aged 80. Yep, aged 80 years old. There's no closure, no answers, just a timeline that stops. I know Nancy Grace has covered this, and I will be also playing some of her videos as well. But Stefanie is described as 5 foot, approximately 130 pounds, green eyes, shoulder length brown hair. Stefanie was last seen wearing blue jeans, long blue sleeve shirt, and a black Harley Davidson hiking boots. And FBI are asking, to call them, or the main state police, Holton Barracks. Police do not believe that Stefanie had access to any electronic devices. The main warden service, with the help of K9 teams, canvassed all the woods for Stefanie, but they didn't turn up any clues to where she was. She's just gone, as I say, a gone girl. Authorities have not made determination whether to believe foul play is involved in her disappearance. Despite extensive investigative efforts, Stefanie still remains missing. Investigators have conducted many interviews and followed up on many leads in Maine and nationally in Canada. So it's really horrible. She just got lost in the woods. And where was I? So when she was reported missing, her mum had left the building to go to finish off a job interview questionnaires or application form. So, we need to find her. This was her missing poster, if I've got it in my files, yeah. So that's her missing photos. There she's got really, really short hair. There she's got really long hair. So you wouldn't think it's the same child. So we need to get her, back up in the internet, get people looking out for things. If you see something, say something. That's my motto in it. And she needs a voice. She may not be around anymore, but they, the family, I presume, would still want closure. They would still want her remains so that they can cremate or bury her. So she does need to be found. I will play. What shall I play first? I've been spending ages trying to research on this. And then there's so much here, there, and everywhere. It's difficult which order to put it in, especially because I'm new to the crime creating. So the search for Stefanie Damron has been ongoing ever since her disappearance on the 23rd of September 2024. Her parents, Christopher Damron and Lisa Damron, have been actively involved in the search efforts, which has included extensive land searches, interviews, and following leads all across Maine and the United States and Canada. Despite all these efforts, Stefanie still remains unlocated. The Damron's family, controversial lifestyle, and the circumstances surrounding her disappearance have led to a divided community, with some neighbours expressing their concern and others offering support. The family's case has garnered significant attention, and community members have held vigils and organised search efforts to support the family and raise awareness about Stefanie's disappearance. So if I go, let's see, where should I go first? I think I might go, I'll go to this one first, and then I'll go to Nancy Grace. So many to choose from, I just don't know. Hopefully I can get this done in under an hour, but it may not be under an hour. It might be just over. So this is the one of the ones I want to share with you. I've just got to check my mic's working, because I've been having nightmares with my flipping microphone. It just doesn't want to work for me when I want it to work. So let's make this larger. See if I can check the sound level. Let's put it up loud. Right, play.
A teen from New Sweden has now been missing for 104 days. Stefanie Damron went missing at the end of September and was last seen walking into the woods near her home in New Sweden. In December, the FBI announced a $15,000 reward for information leading to Damron's safe return, or information that leads to the arrest and prosecution of anyone involved in her disappearance. Today, the Maine Department of Public Safety confirmed that more than a dozen tips have come in since the reward was announced.
I'll just click on this a minute so that you can see her timeline. I might see if it's downloadable, actually. I'll leave that up quickly, and I'll just quickly see if I can get that one up so I can save to my files. So bear with me. Talk among yourselves. Stefanie Damron timeline in a chart. I should have looked at that beforehand, but there might not be images. Let's have a look. Oh, here we go. I've got it. There's quite a few, actually, I think. So let me just save this image a minute. And my mouse doesn't want to work. I think I've been messing around with the settings on my mouse, and it doesn't go where I want my mouse to go. And when I asked my son yesterday, he goes, "Oh, you keep on clicking the middle wheel." Well, you know, that's what one does. Just see if there's anything more important. Just bear with me. So yeah, obviously she's older than age 14 now. Right. So let me go back to StreamYard. So let's play this one. Where was I? There.
The department also stated that detectives are still following up on leads in the case. WAGM requested an interview regarding the impact of the reward, but this request was denied.
No. That was a bit weird.
A moment of triumph.
Nope. So we finished with that one. So let me just come off there. See if I can find, because there's quite a few that Nancy Grace has done. Get back to my StreamYard. And while I'm waiting for this, if you, when you come in, if you could like, share, and subscribe, that would really help me out, and it helps me to get into the YouTube algorithm as well. So I would really, really appreciate that. And if you need to email me any cases you want me to cover, or just generally talk to me, my email's scrolling across the bottom there. And if you like to buy me a cup of coffee, because I'm not monetized by YouTube yet, because I think I need 1,500 members, and I think I got like 109, 110. So I've got a long way before I can even start earning some pennies. So I really appreciate it if anyone could buy me a coffee. Right, let's bring up Nancy. I do like Nancy. She's so dramatic, isn't she? But I often wonder if Nancy's like this in real life, or if it's just for the show of the TV.
Thank you for being with us.
A teen girl disappears from her New Sweden, Maine home, last seen by her grandfather walking into the woods.
Where is Stefanie? Who saw her go into the woods? We're getting a lot of conflicting reports about the last time Stefanie was seen, just 13 years old. And I've got a problem with that, and I'll tell you why. It was over 20 years ago that I last saw my fiance before he was murdered. I know what time it was. I know what he was wearing. I know what he said. I can identify his vehicle, his shirt, everything. I don't have a problem with that. It's crystal clear in my mind. So why is there confusion about what happened to 13-year-old Stefanie? Joining me in All-Star Panel, but first, listen to this.
By the way, I'm watching this at the same time as you are. Well, if you're watching me on recorded, it won't be the same time, but I've only read details about little Stefanie. I haven't listened to any news reportings or anything, so my reaction's going to be the same as you. And also, if I say anything that people disagree with, it's my own opinion. I had someone email me the other day saying that, what my choice of words wasn't very nice. And this person wasn't really nice at all about me, but I don't let things like that bother me. Sometimes I am at my own fault. I don't have a filter to my mouth. And if I see something, I say it. And if it comes in my head, I say it. So I can be a bit abrupt at times, and I do apologize in advance if I ever offend anybody. And I'm one of these people, if I've got something to say, I say it to your face and not behind your back. And I know people on the YouTube can't say it to my face unless they put me on Zoom or something. But either way, I'm big enough and old enough and ugly enough. I can put up with criticism like that. At the end of the day, any criticism is good criticism. But I just want to state from now on in the future, I will be saying my opinions are my opinions. And, won't be all if it upsets anybody else. But come on, let's crack on.
The state police and the FBI are asking the public for help locating a teen from New Sweden, Maine, who walked into the woods and hasn't been seen again. Stefanie Damron has turned 14 since her disappearance 4 months ago. Stefanie is 5 feet tall, 130 pounds, with green eyes and brown hair. She was last seen wearing a long-sleeve blue shirt and black Harley-Davidson hiking boots.
There is a $15,000 reward, and it's climbing. And now we understand the FBI has been called in on the search for Stefanie. The description of her is shoulder length, light brown hair, and I've seen repeatedly striking green eyes. Now, we just saw her dad speaking, and that's from our friends at Patrol Live. I want to see the dad one more time.
Also, if the FBI got involved, I'm really surprised they've not come across anything with her to know where her whereabouts and things are. It's just one of those things. I did hear a rumor, when was it? Last week, when I was talking to someone else about this case, and that's why I decided to report on it, but I haven't heard if the rumor I heard was true or false. But apparently she used to be let, or she was forced to sleep with some pigs. Now, pigs are very good animals if you want to get rid of bodies, because they will eat everything: skin, flesh, internals, bones. They will eat absolutely anything that's in front of them. And that is one way you can clear up a whole body. But whether or not it's just a rumor, I don't know. But I'll just carry on playing Nancy Grace.
Please, let's watch Dad, Christopher Dale.
It was not her phone. It was her grandfather's phone. We had bought an old simple phone. We didn't even know it could connect to the internet. Come to find out, this cheap $20 flip phone was how she ended up connecting to the internet.
Again, joining me an all-star panel, including a volunteer searcher who has been out searching for Stefanie. I'm trying to figure something out. To Tom Green joining us, former Chief Deputy, Washoe County Sheriff's Office, former homicide detective, cold case squad burglary, owner of Nevada Investigative Services. Tom, what can you tell me about this family living as homesteaders, as you say?
Yeah, so this is a different lifestyle. These are folks that want to sustain on their own. They don't want to be meddled with. They don't want to be fiddled with. They don't
Put him
want
back
law
up, please.
enforcement.
What?
Okay, speak English to me. What do you mean sustain? I sustain myself every day when I work and put
Right.
dinner on the table, but I've got an idea you mean something entirely different.
I do. So we're talking about no power. Any power, any electricity they have is going to be generators. As you heard, a flip phone, one flip phone supposedly.
Whoa,
that's
no
being shared.
power? Why don't they have any
No power.
power?
Well, they're using generators to run things when they need power, but this is off the grid.
Why do you want a
living.
generator that can go down? I've got a generator and I go test the thing every week. But wait a minute. If you're not going to have power, that's a lifestyle choice, I guess. But if you're going to use a generator and you do have power, what's the point of not having power? Do they not want any connection to the power company?
It could be, and it could be it could be cost prohibitive. They live like a half a mile from a road in a forested area of a town of 575 people. And this is remote as it gets.
But I guarantee you the next door neighbors have electricity. What do you mean it's cost prohibitive? You know how much a generator costs? If you can afford a generator, you can afford a monthly power bill.
Right. And, according to them, that's what they were doing when their daughter went missing.
What did you say about sustaining themselves? I'm sorry, I'm just trying to get an understanding of how this little
Growing
girl
their
living.
own food and things.
Yeah, well, like I said before, it's you've got 4 of their 6 children living at home in a home-fashioned yurt with no power, no plumbing,
Put
no running
him
water.
up. Whoa, wait a minute. A yurt. That's a fancy name for a tent.
Basically, yes.
Where are the other 2 children? Do we know where they are?
My understanding is that they're adults and have left the home and on their own.
Gee, I wonder why they'd want to get out of there. Tom, I don't want to get too far afield from the fact that Stefanie's missing, and there are conflicting stories about when she was seen last. But I want Christy Rand is joining me, special guest, in addition to Tom Green, Dr. Angie Arnold, and Alexis Tereszchuk. Christy is a volunteer searcher who does not really know the family, but took it upon herself to go out and try to find this little girl. Christy, first of all, what led you to join the search for Stefanie?
I have a distant family connection to another missing person here in the state. So I've done advocacy work for that relative for about 6 or 7 years. And she had a similar circumstance of being presumed to have walked away. And in her case, hundreds of volunteers searched her area for almost a month. And the stark difference in the response for Stefanie was really what called me to her case.
What was the difference, Christy?
Stefanie had no on the boots ground volunteer searches for the first at least 24 hours since the delay in reporting. And beyond that, a scale of even a third or a fourth of the size of what should have happened didn't happen for over a month. So there was a lack of real serious response that would lead you to think that she could be lost in the woods or had fallen and been injured, just based on the lack of volunteers and searching that was happening on the ground.
Okay, Christy, I got a cramp in my hand trying to write down everything that you just said. That was a lot of information. First of all, delay in reporting. My ears pricked up when I heard that. What delay in reporting?
Yeah, so we've been told it's about a 24-hour delay, and we like to consider that it was actually longer, closer to probably 27 or 28 hours. The parents claim that they received the call that Stefanie had walked off in the early afternoon, let's say afternoon time. And the call to report her missing didn't come in until around 4 p.m. the following day.
We know a little bit about circumstances surrounding her disappearance, yet even the facts we have gleaned have become murky, but this is what we originally learned. Listen.
Stefanie Damron, 13, is one of 6 siblings homeschooled by their parents, Lisa and Christopher Damron. The family of 8, along with the children's grandfather, live in a rural wooded area, preferring an off-grid lifestyle. The children are all very familiar with the woods surrounding their home, with Stefanie spending hours outside for time to herself.
While their parents are away, Stefanie gets in an argument with her sister over their chores and storms out of the open front door. Grandpa tries to stop Stefanie, but after noticing tears in her eyes, he lets the 13-year-old go, assuming she will return after cooling off.
Okay, I'm trying to make sense of what I am hearing right now. I've since heard Grandpa did not see her walking off into the woods. I've also heard that what was seen is Stefanie walking into the backyard. Okay. Alexis Tereszchuk joining me, crimeonline.com investigative reporter. Alexis, which of these versions is true? Could they both be true? You remember I told you about my former judge, one of the many judges I practiced in front of, but this one particular judge, Judge Luther Alverson, the oldest working judge in the courthouse, and I might like to add the best. He would tell juries, it is your duty to make all witnesses speak the truth, impugning perjury on no one. In other words, 2 people can have different stories, but they're both telling the truth, right? Based on their vantage point, what they recall, what they heard. It can be true that 2 witnesses' statements can both be true, but yet they are diametrically opposed to each other. So help me understand what happened when Stefanie went into the woods and is never seen again.
So she got in a fight with her sister. It was over the chores they have in their property. Also, her homeschooled, so she could happen to be doing her homework. It was school time. It was the fall. And anything about that, taking care of the other children, laundry, dishes, anything. So she gets in a fight with her sister. She leaves. The sister says she sees her walk in the woods. Grandpa says he looked at her. She was crying. He wasn't going to stop her. Now, he could have just not turned around and watched her walk away. She has apparently done this a lot in the past. She gets upset. She's a teenager. She gets upset. She walks around the property. She kicks some rocks. She cools off and she comes home. So they weren't initially worried is perhaps why they didn't call the police originally. And
after
then
27 hours?
Well, they weren't originally worried in the beginning. This is something she has done before. They've said that she has often sort of left and walked on her own. Again, they own a huge property. She could have just wanted to be outside.
Is it a huge property? Christy Rand, you have searched the property before members of the volunteers were blocked by the family, according to reports, from coming back on the property to search. How big is that property, Christy?
It's a good chunk of acres, and it backs up to another set of wooded land that could take you eventually.
I've just been reading up because I want to see if there was any updates this year about Stefanie, because the last update seems to be late last year. But apparently they lived on a 26-acre land. That is massive.
Out to a street, but it's going to be really dense and difficult to walk through. But just as said before, the driveway itself is over a quarter mile. So it is dense.
A quarter mile, that's a 5-minute walk, max. That's a 5-minute walk. That's not that much. I mean,
And-
you have to be walking slowly to
and-
make a
and I
20-minute
should say too-
mile.
It's not even necessarily a driveway. So like this time of year, there is no access by vehicle. It would be walking only. It's not paved. There's no plow truck coming through in the winter like we have right now. It's snow covered.
Okay, let me understand something. Can I see the aerial shot again, please, control room? Christy Rand, I am looking at a 365-degree view. There's nothing but trees. I see exactly what you mean.
And it should be said, the neighbor directly across the street from them, that home is also empty. So walking to the end of the street, someone there, if she was walking to the road, they wouldn't have seen anything.
But the reality is, isn't it true, Alexis Tereszchuk, that canines were ultimately brought out?
They were, and they didn't find anything that led them to her at all. They didn't say, oh, it went right up to the street edge, we lost it here, meaning that maybe she got into a car with the person that she had contacted on the cell phone. They couldn't really find anything of her.
You know, I find a lot of this to be inconsistent, but what I do know is a 13-year-old girl is missing. Listen to this.
Stefanie still hasn't returned an hour and a half later. Stefanie is very familiar with the woods near their home, and they check all her usual spots, but find no trace of the 13-year-old. The family doesn't think Stefanie would have headed to the main road, but as they walk the half-mile trail leading to the street, Grandpa and some of her siblings remember hearing some kind of vehicle pass by just a few minutes after Stefanie left.
Christy Rand, I thought that the parents went in town to fill out applications for jobs, that while they were gone, Stefanie argues with his sister about chores and she tears up and walks out of the home into the woods. Now we've heard she just went into the backyard and then suddenly disappears. Now I'm hearing that they heard a car go by a quarter of a mile away on the road. They heard a car go by. I'm also hearing the father say, we got the phone call she took up off the road. When we got home, we thought she'd be back and that would be the end of it. When he says she took off up the road, does he mean the public road or up the driveway? What does this mean?
It's definitely concerning that at first the answer is we aren't sure if she would have gone to the road at all. And then we've heard a car near the road, and now it's that she took off toward the road. So that in itself can be confusing. And hearing a car on the road doesn't really, I mean, do we not expect to hear cars on the road? It was the middle of the afternoon. For all we know, that could have been a neighbor coming home, a mailman out front. I don't think there's anything significant to be heard from any of that other than discrepancies.
A 13-year-old girl goes for a walk but doesn't return. The family reports hearing but not seeing a vehicle. Where is Stefanie Damron?
A lot of confusing.
It is confusing. You know, how can someone just disappear? You know, unless they're abducted by aliens. You know, there must be trace of her somewhere. And I know from where they live, seeing all the trees and things, to do a square by square search would be almost impossible. You know, this is going to be like the Jack and Lily case where, you know, there's clues and suspicions and finger pointing, but they're never going to be found. And I can't understand why, you know, she's not found, because at the moment, like I say, there's no closure, no answers. She's just missing and she's just vanished. She walked off and she was gone. And as I call them, gone girls, you know, they're just disappeared. So I hope she wasn't picked up for trafficking or anything as horrendous as that. But feel free to put your views in the chat. I'd like to know what other people believe. And if anyone knows anything more than what I already know, then please say.
And murky facts, but I absolutely know this, that police were not called the entire evening she was not reported missing until first thing the following morning. Now, I don't understand that. To Christy Rand, have you ever gotten an explanation why the parents went overnight without reporting their 13-year-old girl was
Seems a bit
gone?
weird.
Do I have that timeline correct? She was not reported missing till the next morning?
The earliest confirmation that we've gotten for the reason that happened is that they were under the assumption that you needed to wait 24 hours to report missing. And so they were supposedly waiting for that 24-hour mark. And
That is pathetic. I mean, if they weren't sure, surely they could have phoned up the police and say, do I have to wait 24 hours before I report my daughter missing? You know, if you're not sure, just pick up the phone and ask. You know, you don't know what the answer is going to be till you ask the question. And it can either be one of two, yes or no. It's not really difficult, in my opinion.
unfortunately, they weren't waiting by the clock and missed the 24-hour mark before making the phone call. And as far as the quote saying that they were in the woods screaming and looking for her, you know, that leading up to that 24-hour mark, there are no neighbors that ever received a knock from them. If they were out looking for those 24 hours, it was not to a neighbor.
Chrissy, how close is the home to, say, for instance, a convenience store?
Miles.
10 miles, 20 miles, 1 mile?
I'm not comfortable saying for sure, but I would say about 10 miles. It would be a lengthy walk for a teenage girl to be going to the local gas station on foot. Her closest neighbors would have been safer locations for her to go, where they have figurative Uncle Andrew who lives nearby. There are other people on their street that she would have been more likely to walk to before attempting to reach town.
Okay, let me understand something. Tom Green and I both say the family lived in a yurt, which is a glorified tent. You say, no, it's not a yurt. Then what is it?
A shed, probably.
So I'm also from Maine, where we have homesteads here. There's a lot of people who choose to live kind of an alternative homesteading lifestyle. And to me, a yurt would be a solid structure built to withstand the elements of Maine's weather. You could potentially have wood stove in there, and it would come in a way that it's built to last and provide protection from the elements and anything else you'd need to sustain yourself long term over winters. There are people who rent them for Airbnbs and anything and beyond up here. What they have, I call a DIY version of that, where they have a handmade center structure that they've extended with tent-like structures off of the perimeter to create a DIY version of a tent.
So they're living in a tent-like structure. Does each child have their own space, or are they all in one room?
They have small, separate room-like living quarters. They wouldn't be what we consider rooms with our own windows and doors, but they would be separated from each other for a little bit of privacy. There's no indoor bathroom or anything like that. So
what?
It isn't the
no bathroom.
It's not the structure that we would all want to see our kids raised in, but for people who are choosing an alternative lifestyle, it could be seen as fit.
When you refer to them as homesteaders, what is your interpretation of the word homesteader?
Possibly being off the grid like they are, using a generator when they absolutely need power, not using everyday amenities like the running water, but still having access to potable water to use for washing dishes or cleaning yourself up, potentially using animals and other techniques to, have your own garden, grow your own vegetables, process your own chicken, survive off the land, and need as much outside subsistence as possible.
Okay, Dr. Angela Arnold joining me, renowned psychiatrist. Joining us out of the Atlanta jurisdiction, voted my Buckhead's best psychiatric practice of 22, 23, and 24. Dr. Angie, I'm not judging. I don't care. I have lived in a tent over the summer when I was a camp counselor in the National Forest. I have been in a yurt. I certainly don't live that way now with the children and my mother living with us. But that said, I don't care how these people live. What I do care about is the fact that, quote, off the grid and homesteading, homeschooling, that gives a lot less eyes on the child. I can't even figure out when she was last seen, for Pete's sake.
Well, and my big question is why, Nancy, why are they living like this? Like it makes us wonder if they're running away from something. And this little girl at 13 or 14 years old sounds like she may be getting tired of this way of living. Oftentimes when people run away, they can either be running away from something that's going on in the home environment, or they can also actually be running towards something that they're looking for. Okay, so remember that they could be running away or towards something else. So we're all questioning this way of life. What about the other 4 children? Are they questioning this way of life? I mean, you become
Dr. Angie, I'm not questioning their way of life. This is America. It's not communist China where they know everything you're thinking and doing.
But is the little girl questioning their way of life? And is she running away from something?
Right. Because I didn't know what a yurt was like. I know Nancy says it's like a glorified tent, but this is a basic one. When it comes up, that's a basic yurt. And, you know, that is just like a tent, as Nancy says, you know, she calls it as it is. And then if you want a more posher one, if you've got lots of money, image file, you've got something a bit more luxurious. This, it's still a tent. You might have like a cover for your logs and things, and that probably is your outside toilet and that. So you can make it look quite nice, you know, put decking around it, but it all takes money. And I gather if you've got money to buy all this, you might as well live in a house. And that, you know, you could still build a large wooden building with individual rooms in it to call them bedrooms and lounges and kitchen areas. You know, that's my opinion anyway, but I'll bring Nancy back up to the stage. I just needed to see it myself to find out what it was like. Let's play this.
Something that's going on in the home, or is she running towards something, another way of life that she would prefer to live? That's my question in all of this, because I don't believe we have enough information past that. The girl is gone. Was she running away from something, or was she running towards something? Okay, Nancy? And all we know is that that little girl is gone.
Please join us on our mission to find missing people, especially children.
Let me see. I don't like adverts. I know it's not an advert as such, but while I've got you all here, I know some of you in chat already have, but if you could like and share and subscribe, I'd really appreciate that. Put your notifications to all. So anytime I do a recorded video or I do a live, and then you'll get notification that I'm live and things. And also, if you want to send me any cases, my email scrolls down the bottom there. And if you want to buy me a coffee, you're more than welcome to. It can be anything from like 25 cents upwards. I do not mind. It's all gratefully received, and it all helps towards my ongoing costs with, you know, different programs that I run and things. Right, let me get back to the news for you.
Still missing.
That from our friends at News Center, Maine. We just heard Dr. Angela Arnold state that this little girl, just 13 years old, described as having shoulder-length light brown hair and strikingly green eyes, was either running away from something or running to something. Let's explore the theory she's running away from something. Isn't it true, Alexis Tereszchuk, that there was a quote, CPS fiasco back in Texas? And I'm getting that from what purports to be one of the parents' Facebook. A quote, CPS Child Protective Services fiasco back in Texas. And they fled Texas and moved to Maine. Explain what happened.
So the police were called because the parents were inside a McDonald's and they appeared drunk. So the police came up, they found them, they arrested them for being drunk in public. Then they realized 2 of their children were in the car outside. So the parents weren't even taking care of the children that were in the car. And that's what they were charged with, child abandonment. I believe they definitely got much lesser charges and they didn't serve any time in jail, but it was definitely CPS was involved after the police found them having left their children in the car while they were drunk inside McDonald's.
The tip line, everyone, is 1-800-924-2261 or the FBI 1-800-CALL-FBI. That's 1-800-225-5324. There is a reward with information leading to the whereabouts of this little 13-year-old girl. Now, you mentioned earlier, Christy Rand, that some people were searching the property under the theory she may have, quote, fallen. What?
I think it was important for everyone that was volunteering to search the general area that since we did not find Stefanie in the first 24 hours or in that first week, there was some possibility, since there were also no sightings, no credible reports of her being seen in town or in their closest city or anywhere else in the state. It was important to make sure that if she had taken her adventure in the woods to go cool off, that she had not fallen, tripped, gotten injured, or anything of the sort, and just was unable to reach help.
You stated that neighbors did not hear anyone calling out her name or screaming or going door to door looking for her?
No, so no neighbors heard anything that 24-hour period delay of reporting her missing, that they were out screaming in the woods looking for her. Neighbors heard nothing. They also never received a knock on their door from dad or mom. The neighbors actually, the first knock they received was from authorities days later, asking for video footage and if they had seen anything.
To Tom Green joining me, owner of Nevada Investigative Services and former chief deputy in Washoe County, I want you to hear again what the father is saying.
It was not her phone. It was her grandfather's phone. We had bought an old simple phone. We didn't even know it could connect to the internet. Come to find out, this cheap $20 flip phone was the how she ended up connecting to the internet.
Okay, I want to analyze that. And you're seeing that video from our friends at On Patrol Live. To connect to the internet, of course, you have to have Wi-Fi. Okay. If you don't have electricity and you don't have an indoor bathroom, is it consistent that grandpa has an, quote, old simple phone that connects to the internet? Does that make sense to you?
Not exactly, but what also doesn't make sense to me is the mom and dad said they received a call about her going missing. How did that call occur? Did it occur from the property? Did it go from a neighbor? Did somebody drive to town? We don't know how close the nearest cell tower is to their home. You know, theoretically, you could get data and access the internet on a device that's capable of doing those things if you're in range of a cell tower. Maybe a neighbor has Wi-Fi. We just don't know.
I think I know about the call. Correct me if I'm wrong, Alexis and Christy. After she went out the door, after a spat with her sister regarding chores, apparently someone, I guess the grandpa, someone called the mom and dad who say they were in town filling out a job application and said she stormed out. They believed, well, she'll be back in an hour and a half or so when we get home. They come home. She's not there. I'm assuming that call came from Grandpa's flip phone. Is that your understanding, Alexis Tereszchuk?
Yes, it is. And there haven't been any reports saying she took Grandpa's phone. They've always admitted that Grandpa has a phone. And just because it was a flip phone doesn't mean it can't make calls. So they called the parents with the flip phone.
What about it, Christy Rand?
Yes, I believe that's exactly what we've been told as well, that he had a flip phone, that Stefanie was commonly using it, but did not take it with her when she left that day. And we are unclear on whether or not the phone call happened immediately as she was walking away, or if they waited 20 or 30 minutes to connect to service, connect to Wi-Fi, get to a neighbor's house to make the call. It's unclear of how soon that call happened.
So, to your knowledge, do they have internet access there? Do they have Wi-Fi? I mean, they don't have a commode. I'm not judging. I don't care.
If you're asking,
I'm just trying to figure out, if you don't have a commode, you have Wi-Fi? What?
We've asked about the Wi-Fi and we're unable to get a clear answer as to whether or not they had it. But if you notice the on patrol interview that Dad has done, he appears to be recording that video from the yurt. And as far as we know, it appeared like it may be live. So for that to be possible, there is some type of Wi-Fi connection, whether it's coming from a hotspot or a cell phone. He is in that yurt, it appears, and clearly has a device that he can use to record a video and send to on patrol. So there must be some way to connect to the internet via a phone, a hotspot, or a Wi-Fi router.
Okay, yeah. And you're seeing that video from our friends at On Patrol Live that spoke to the dad. Christy, and everybody on the panel, jump in if you have insight onto this. Is it true search teams were ultimately barred from searching the property?
What?
Yes. We have search teams that were denied access after the first initial searches. There was a series of events that went down that became hostile.
Why would you not let the people in to do searches? That's just crazy. You know, if your little girl's missing, you'd want everybody to do everything they can, including searches and everything else. That's just crazy why the parents wouldn't let anyone in to do search.
Denied access to the property without a warrant. And I believe there was a Facebook post made in the Mysteries of Maine group by Dale himself explaining that no one was welcome to return without a warrant or permission. And so that is part of why we've created the...
That is so crazy. And also this grandpa guy isn't a real grandpa to them. It was a person they knew. I'm not sure if it was a family member, but it was someone they knew. And he was 80 years old. 80. You know, I bet he couldn't hardly look after himself, not knowing look after two girls while the parents go off into town. Oops, I forgot to start this again.
I don't think he needed a reason.
But I mean, I would want everybody and their brother and sister looking for my child. I don't understand. Why would you bar searchers from looking for your child?
I'm going to just try to keep that there's a possibility he is extremely uncomfortable with the press and the publicity that this has gotten, and for his own reasons may just want official search teams to be there, and maybe only wants FBI and police to be on his property from now on. It also could be extremely uncomfortable for them as parents to have us volunteers coming out to search for Stefanie and also asking questions, you know, about the electricity, the Wi-Fi connection, whether or not there was cell service. Because of course, when you have a dozen volunteer searchers invited to your property, all of us are going to be bringing our smartphones, using maps and devices to communicate with each other. So it was fairly instantly that volunteers were able to determine there's no cell service here.
I just want to interrupt a minute. I try not to do as many stops and starts, but I just want to welcome anyone new coming into my channel. It's nice to see you. Well, not physically face to face, but it's nice to see you coming into my chat. And I do know my time difference in the UK is different from everyone else's around the world. So while I'm all new at this, I need to work out what time's best for me to do my lives. for most people to catch me. If not, I'll always do recorded ones so you can still watch them at your own leisure as well. So if you're new joining me, thank you for coming in. Please like and subscribe and share. It all helps me to get into the YouTube algorithm. And I know some of you are Jay's members, so you already know how all this works. Right, let's carry on playing.
So where's this phone call coming from and how did this all work?
There are tips from the public that maybe she had a social media friend at the time or an acquaintance. So we just try to follow up on any information for those outside states.
That was Lieutenant Darren Karn from the Maine State Police, courtesy of our friends at New Center, Maine. Let's talk about the so-called internet searches. Tom, you said something very significant. You said, let's listen to the exact words we're hearing. Why did you say that? What do you mean? What have you gleaned?
Well, you know, statement analysis is critical. People say things that they may not want to because it's the truth. In an instance like that, where he said that she had been on the internet, it wasn't a speculation. He knows somehow that she had accessed the internet.
To Alexis Tereszczuk, crimeonline.com investigative reporter, he said that she had been on dating sites, right?
He did say that. And remember, she is only 13. You're not supposed to be on dating sites when you are 13. They really try to, you have to put in details and identification and things like that. But Dad said she had been on dating websites, all through a little flip phone.
Yeah, all through a flip phone, and no one knew she was doing it. Dr. Angie Arnold, renowned psychiatrist. Dr. Angie, isn't it true? The more you, I guess it'd be reverse psychology, the more you try to keep a child away from a certain thing, that's the thing that they want. The more, okay, they fled Texas after a CPS fiasco. They come to Homestead here in New Sweden, Maine, and you've seen, let's take a look at that 365-degree photo and an aerial. You can't get your child much further away from society, from school, from other people, from other children than here, and still live in the U.S. It's on the Canadian border. So they try so much to keep the child away that that's exactly what Stefanie did.
Nancy, they don't go to school. They don't have a phone. So if this child can gain access to a phone via her grandfather, and she's vulnerable because of her age, okay, what else is she going to do but look at some sort of a website where she could possibly find someone else to talk to? So she is very much vulnerable, and she could be a victim to any number of things that can happen to her on the internet. But oftentimes children will reach out when they get the opportunity because they feel so pinned down by all of this isolation that the parents are trying to, you know, sometimes under the guise of keeping them safe. I don't know much about this family, but there are a lot of conspiracy theorists out there. They don't want children to hear other things that are going on in the world. And so she very well could have reached out on the only
Well, it seems to me,
in the
getting back to the facts that we know, Tom Green, if the authorities, if LE, law enforcement, took all the devices,
get back to the photo,
and looked at them, wouldn't they know which dating sites she had allegedly gone to? And if so, who would be her social media friend? And then find that person? It's not rocket science.
I agree with you. And the fact that the FBI is still involved makes it seem that it's less of a chance that she ran away and is deceased in the woods, God forbid, and that there's more of a chance that she either got picked up, met someone, something like that, and is in a vulnerable state because of her age.
Christy Rand, there was recently a vigil. A vigil was held for Stefanie to keep her disappearance in the news media. Did you attend the vigil?
I did not.
Christy, you have devoted so much of your time to try to find Stefanie. Why did you not go to the vigil?
There have been safety concerns for volunteers and organizers.
I'll just go back to chat a minute, make sure I've not missed anybody's messages. I've just been searching on the yurts and the parents and things. So I'll just quickly share that page and then I'll get back to the story. It's just that it had me interested. So if I stop, can I, stop that one for a minute and start this one. Right. Just make sure you can see what I can see. My mouse doesn't want to work with me today. So like, I need to bring that up bigger if I can. No, it won't let me bring it up. Oh, here we go. Full screen. So this is the yurt. And it is like the picture I sent in. So this is what I found on the internet. That's obviously I don't know if this building at the back was for animals. That's two of the, Steph and two children and the dad. Oh, happy mother. That looks like me when I've got no coffee. Or wine o'clock time. I'm waiting for the wine o'clock time to appear. There's the dad. There's Stefanie. She's still got a sour face. Why is she looking so miserable? Unless they were on drugs. This is the guy that they call grandpa. But biologically, he is not a grandpa. He's just somebody they knew. And obviously, Stefanie's picture again. Little goat. So yeah, happy faces, both of them. So yeah, so we get back to Nancy Grace now. Let me get rid of this and stop sharing. Go back to Nancy. I got so much on this story I wanted to share. I thought it'd only land up taking me an hour. It's going to be way over an hour.
And we were hoping to have confirmation that law enforcement would be present that day so that we could be protected, the family could be protected. And since we weren't able to have that, there were members that decided it would be best not to attend.
Were you actually afraid that you would be confronted at the vigil?
I think it was a possibility. And if not for confrontation, family members, town residents, anyone who would have a reason to not want us on their property in general. There are people that live in New Sweden who just genuinely want their privacy and are not interested in dozens of volunteers knocking on doors with permission slips asking to put boots on their ground.
The FBI and Maine State Police working to find a teen who vanishes from her New Sweden home. The reward tops $15,000.
Tom Green, I'm very surprised that neither search dogs nor cadaver dogs picked up a scent. That tells me
there's about 10 minutes of this, Nancy Grace. My mouse doesn't want to work.
She did leave the property. But how? They don't have a trail of her leaving.
Exactly. And, that area, they're 18 miles as the crow flies about to the Canadian border. It is heavily wooded, chocked full of trails and roads for ATVs, not easily surveilled from the sky. That night, it got down to 41 degrees. All these things, the time delay, the temperature, the humidity, all these things factor in with the dog's ability to gather a scent. And the fact that they didn't get a scent is obviously not good, and could be an indication that she left in some sort of motorized vehicle or walked along a roadway, a paved roadway somewhere, leaving the area.
The parents have been quoted as saying everybody's looking at them as having something to do with Stefanie's disappearance. That's not uncommon. The first place you look is at family and those closest to the missing child. That in no way suggests the parents are responsible for her disappearance. Not at all. That is where every investigation starts, when there is a missing person. Now, regarding hearing a vehicle, They are quoted, the family is quoted as saying they don't know if it was a vehicle, a four-wheeler, a motorcycle, and by the time anyone got to the road, the vehicle was already gone. The mom also states that she began looking immediately, going up and down the roads and everything because she, Stefanie, has done.
Let's face it, they said they heard a vehicle up the, on the road, but time they got up to the road, the vehicle was gone. Of course it's going to be gone. Unless the car's going like 0.01 miles per hour, that car is going to be gone in 5 seconds or less, depending how fast that car was traveling. So, I think that's a bit stupid to say that they heard a car, but time they got up the road, the car was gone. Did they think the car was going to stay there? It's ridiculous.
Done this before. I've been able to find her in the past, but this time I could not find her. Is that accurate, Alexis Tereszchuk?
That is, absolutely. They said that she had a history of leaving the property, running up. They would call it running away, but she didn't run away. She was just on their big property. She was hiding in the woods, hiding in different places. They always found her to come back. So that was one of the reasons why they weren't as panicked as if she had not had this history of doing this. They would have said immediately, let's find her. But this was something she had done before. So it didn't raise a red flag for them right away.
Christy Rand, who has searched repeatedly for Stefanie. Christy, you stated that their property backs up against a much bigger and more densely wooded area. Has that area been searched?
It does. Volunteers have searched from their roadside all the way through their property to the property line and then back to the next parallel road. So any possibility that Stefanie had taken any trail from their side of town to another has been checked. Shows that we are definitely not just looking at the parents, we're looking at every possibility.
And again, that means nothing when we say we're looking at the parents. Of course, we're looking at the parents. Everybody looks at the parents and the family first, and then the investigation moves out from there. Why? Because statistically, very often, especially when the child is very young, like a toddler, the family is responsible for the disappearance. That's not to say that happened here. Take a listen to Lieutenant Darren Karn with Maine State Police.
Everything is still on the table for us, from her simply being missing to run away to the worst situation, because we don't have any concrete leads or tips that have led us basically in one direction or the other.
That's from our friends at News Center, Maine. Everyone is being eyeballed. All scenarios are being researched. I'm curious about what, if any, leads came from Grandpa's flip phone, where reportedly Stefanie had been on a dating site. If that had anything to do with her disappearance, think about it. When Mom and Dad leave to go to town to apply for this job, she gets Grandpa's phone. She has met somebody online at just 13 years old and tries to meet up with them. It's happened so many times before with tragic results. We just don't know. But what we do know is this 13-year-old little girl is missing. If you know or think you know anything about the whereabouts of Stefanie Damron, just 13 years old when she disappeared, please dial 1-800-CALL-FBI, 1-800-225-5324. There is a $15,000 reward that is climbing. Now, we remember an American hero, police officer Glenn Doss Jr., Detroit PD, just 25.
That's a different story. So let me just see which other one I was going to do. Wasn't that one. It wasn't that one. I had an interview somewhere. Where's that interview? This was another one of Nancy Grace. Let's see if that was the same one or not. Where's the other one I had? I've got so many tabs open here. It's really unbelievable. I'm closing some of them as I go when my mouse lets me. That was the one. There was a video here where the aunt was interviewed. And again, all these videos and that I've not seen myself. It was just a case I typed in missing cases, and this one came up, and I thought, you know what, I'll do this one because I don't like cold cases. Oh, here we go. This one is going to be an interview with her aunt Jerry Harm and Stefanie's great aunt from Illinois to discuss circumstances around the case. So let me just pause this a minute, put it on large. Oh, now I've got to come off. Bear with a minute. Where's my escape button? There. Right. Let's go back to StreamYard a minute. Share screen. Right, so let's quickly enlarge this one. Let me check you can see it. There we go.
Her niece is missing. I want to show her picture. And by the way, your picture is going everywhere on Twitter. I posted her picture on Twitter.
To hear that.
Yeah, because when I post pictures, I don't just post it on Facebook. I post it on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Newsbreak, Clapper, everywhere.
Awesome.
Nancy Grace has reposted the flyer that I put out, as y'all can see. And if you go on there, a lot of people also reposted it. So I can't see it right here. It went up. It was 425 likes. And I can't see that number right there. I don't know. I can't see that number, but
what I'll do, I'm gonna put this up as a faster speed if it lets me, because this one I've just realized is an hour and a half long. So let me just change the speed. 125 should be better.
A lot of people were reposting it. A lot of people are reposting it. So that's a really good thing. When I woke up this morning and I went to go check, it was repost. Yeah, so that's really, really good. Yeah. And I noticed that, what is that? NamUs? Missing, exploited and children? NamUs?
Yes. Yes.
They liked it, the post, because she must be a NamUs. Or they talked about her. Because when I posted it, they also posted a news clip thing of her, which is good.
Good. That's good. That's real good.
And they liked it, my thing. They put a heart. That was the first time that NamUs ever acknowledges anything that I did. So that is amazing right there. So it tells you that any missing people that I'm promoting out there, volunteering to do, is getting known.
Good.
It's getting known. Because if Nancy Grace is posting it,
yeah,
and now
Nancy Grace is pretty big. It's good she's on there.
Right? And now we have my eyelashes. And now we have missing and exploring.
Yes.
That's really huge.
She's been on there. I've got her on Canada's Missing and Exploited.
Let me just
there was an incident maybe a month, 3 weeks to a month before this that Stefanie did run off, and Lisa found her a couple hours later hiding in the woods.
Aww.
That's what they thought she was going to be doing again, but she wasn't.
Does she have does she have a phone?
Don't know. She has a phone with her. The only phone she was able to use was her grandfather's or the parents' phone, but they believe that she could have possibly gotten a hold of a phone.
Does she have a laptop?
There's like two or three personal computers, little laptops in the home. They were all turned over to the FBI investigators.
Was there boots on the ground out there so far looking for her?
There's been a lot of ground searches out there. The FBI conducted ground search with dogs, with cadaver dogs. The general public just had a ground search last Saturday where they did find some items, but they didn't find her. They found some items believed to have been hers.
Okay.
They also found items that could have been from the other children as well, because they do play in that area out there in the woods. So a couple of items they found, such as colored pencils, they don't believe were hers. You know, they believe that was siblings, the younger ones.
Other kids that play out there and stuff like that. Has there been any other missing children in that area?
Oh, there's several missing children.
Oops. Didn't want to do that.
There have been missing children that have been found, but there's also missing children throughout Maine that have not been found.
Has it been recent? Any kids that's been missing recent?
There was 2 girls and a boy.
Let me just try and bring it on a bit.
Has tried to help them that has an ATV and can get back there, has rode along the riverbank. But as far as I know, the investigators have not been back there. And it's not but a couple miles from Stefanie's. It should have probably definitely been searched.
Christy, that's what I'm talking about. The public ground search went on the uncle's property.
That's what they said. They said that the pigs were
right.
Ground search. Now I will add this in there. I didn't see it until you can go to like Google search or Google Maps, and really, if you have certain addresses you put in that search bar, you can really see the property. It does look like there's a small pond that those pigs might roam in back there. I haven't asked the FBI investigator if they were able to get back there, but someone that did the ground search said they definitely allowed back there.
Because
he didn't want
pigs and dogs out.
Yeah, he didn't want anyone back there. And instead of him realizing there's a ground search taking place, he didn't offer to put the pigs away. He let them roam. So they couldn't see that area. The pigs ain't friendly pigs. They're mean pigs.
Right, she said they're mean pigs.
Oh, they're mean pigs.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think they're mean to the family, because I've seen my 11-year-old great niece interacting with these pigs. She pets them. She lays down with them. They got a kid's swimming pool that they even swim with the pigs. So they interact, but they didn't accept strangers on that property. Not at all.
Well, Christy said that he promised to keep the dogs and animals inside, but he didn't. He let them let loose.
He did.
And that's very interesting.
Now, whether or not
the FBI they let loose, he know people are going to get scared and not want to search anymore.
Right. Now, I was told that all of those grounds were investigated by the FBI drones, but how far they went out, I don't know. That I can't say. I can't even say for sure if they were able to search that pond, if there were trees obscuring it from overhead. I don't know if the drone was able to see that whole big pond back there.
Christy said, yeah, the dog scared the girl and left. That's what I'm saying, because he knew that once he put them animals out, people going to be scared. I would be scared too. Now, like animals, I'm going to be scared.
Christopher and Lisa, they have dogs, but they kept all of their dogs contained in cages while they were doing that search. There wasn't not one dog let loose. Their dogs were kept in cages. I don't know why the uncle would choose to let his dogs loose during that search.
But he knew why.
Yes, he could have.
He knew why. He knew that that's just going to scare everybody away, and they would stop searching. And that would make you wonder, right?
It does. It makes you wonder.
They need to go back there and do another search. The FBI, whoever.
I'm hoping that's what they're trying to proceed with right now. From my understandings, they are supposed to go back there. And yes, Princess, you're right. He did know when the search was.
Just to interrupt this again, I see there's some more people coming in. It shows I've got 7 people watching. I know it's only a small number, but when you're starting out on YouTube as a creator, things do start off small and then gradually you gain more momentum. So anyone that hasn't appeared in chat to say hi, if you're just what I call lurking, welcome. I don't bite, or not very hard anyway. So it's great to have you. And I know most of my members are probably from Jay's group, and I love Jay to bits. And she's always willing to help other people out. That's her members. And so I'm quite happy for that. And also, as I get more busier, I will need some mods. At the moment, I don't have any mods because my chat's not that very busy. But if you're interested in becoming a mod, drop me an email. My email's scrolling at the bottom, and I'd love to hear from you. Okay, let's play this because this one is also, well, it was an hour and 25 minutes, but I'm going to try and skip some bits because otherwise I'll be like Jay and we'll be here 3 hours later. So let me just play this.
One of the ladies who conducted the search had actually spoke with him, and he said he had no problem. I don't know if I can share screenshots, but I have a screenshot of him saying, I will help in any way that I can. And then that next morning at 8:30 a.m., right when the search began, he's letting out pigs and dogs that were not friendly.
Interesting.
That seems odd. Yes. That's not helping out in any way that you can.
That's very interesting.
I myself, if I would have been there, I would have been out joining in the search.
Right.
Instead of letting my animals out. Right. I would have been more helpful. I would have said, hey, my property goes this far, or, how many acres my property was wide and long. But he didn't share none of that. They had to do their own search to even determine how far the uncle's property runs.
Yeah, they're not going to do it without a search warrant again. That's for sure. They need a search warrant to go back there anyway. It was my child. That property would have been fully cleared way before now.
Yes, you would think so.
Yeah.
Now I know any neighbor that was like within, I believe, a 5 to 7 mile radius, they did go and review cameras. People, that have their own personal cameras on their property, and they did get to review several cameras, but unfortunately, nothing was found on the cameras, and I believe they might have even viewed some traffic cams.
Are we going to touch on the stolen truck?
I heard about a truck incident just a couple days ago. I did ask Lisa about it. She says that Stefanie wasn't brought home at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Okay, before we get into that, because people don't know what you're talking about, so let's just go back a little bit.
There's a neighbor, an 80-year-old neighbor. Okay. I'm not sure exactly how far from them. I want to say less than a mile. That said he caught Stefanie trying to take a truck of his 3 weeks before Stefanie went missing. And he supposedly dropped her back off at the uncle's property. That man has been questioned 3 times. And I mean, they questioned him intensively. So I believe his story has to align. Yes, there probably was. I believe Stefanie, there was an incident before Stefanie even took off, about a month before, that she tried to run off, and they found her 2 hours later hiding in the woods. So no, I'm not saying Stefanie couldn't have went out there and tried to take a neighbor's truck and take off.
Well, why would she want to take it? What did she say when she wanted to take the truck?
Well, I guess because she thought she was going to run away.
That's what she said?
She told this neighbor that she was trying to get away.
Get away from who?
I guess run away from home.
Oh, okay.
Run away from home.
But where was she trying to go with the truck? Do they know?
No.
Okay.
Each time she's ever ran away, they have found her behind in the woods, either the uncle's or their property. Once they even found her sleeping with pigs in a barn.
Okay, yeah, but that's okay. Let's go. Hold on. Some children do just run. But is there a reason why? And I'm not saying, but I have to ask this. I have to ask. Is there a reason why she just runs away from home?
I don't think Stefanie particularly likes the seclusion. She's getting to that age. She just turned 14. She's wanting to see more of what's out there. And I can't hate on them because they want to keep their children so secluded. You know, who am I to judge and say, hey, your kids should be going to high school. Your kids shouldn't be homeschooled. But I feel that Stefanie is craving that much more than the other children. Natty, the 11-year-old, she loves homeschool. She don't want to go. I have talked to her. Natty, tell TT, do you miss that you don't get to go to school and make friends and join sports and, you know, maybe be a cheerleader? She'll say, no, TT, I don't want to go to school. When I went to school in Texas, I was bullied all the time.
Aw. I
So
believe it too. These kids are something else in school.
they've always been a family that has had farm animals, pigs, chickens, goats, stuff like that. And kids can be cruel. Come on, we know it. They're not a rich family. They're hillbillies. I'm not going to lie. My family is a bunch of hillbillies. We got people in the Appalachian Mountains. We're hillbillies.
That's okay.
Do I live in a yurt? No. Would I ever live in a yurt? No. But some people do.
Some people
and
do.
it's very common in Maine and New England.
It's better. It's healthier living in a damn farm because let me tell you something. You got to make it. Do your own eggs, your own chickens. You know how much money we're spending out here.
I don't know if I could do goat's milk. I don't want goat's milk, but they like it.
But the eggs.
Yeah, the eggs. Yeah. They don't buy no eggs. Shoot, I've heard, and Natty's proud of this. She's even set up a little roadside table and sold chicken eggs before over the summer. And yeah, she's proud of that. She'll put the money she makes from selling eggs back into her chickens. Yeah. She's raised prize chickens that have run trophies for blue ribbons.
Yeah. No, the reason I ask because I have to ask because people are going to ask that on internet. People are going to wonder. People are going to ask. And I'm a type of person that I have one thing about me, I'm gonna keep it 100, right? And I'm gonna ask because if I don't ask, they're gonna ask you anyway, you know.
Right.
And it's not nothing like I'm thinking, oh, is she getting beaten on? It wasn't nothing like that. It's just a simple thing.
I'll add this.
Why did she get away? Why did she run away?
I wasn't told that I can't share this. So I'm going to share it.
Ooh.
In the investigation of the PC, the laptop, one of the PCs in the home, they did find that Stefanie was corresponding with older men on Facebook. One of them was 32 years old. Another one is in his 50s. This one that is in his 50s, a lot of people can't see Stefanie's friends on Facebook. I believe it's set as private. But this man went as fuck off. I mean, that was his name on Facebook. He has like probably 15 accounts. And I know that man has been questioned several times now. Several times. He has many young teenage girls, 12-year-olds on his Facebook.
And this is why I be asking parents, is there a reason why your teenagers run away from home sometimes?
His first name is Stefan, like it's spelled Stephen, and he's from that area. He has family in that area. Okay. They were able to, the FBI was able to identify him, get this, because they know the man well. He's been involved in drugs. They know him very well. They knew exactly who he was when they seen his pictures.
Okay. So I wonder if they...
I know he's been questioned by an FBI investigator named Andrew.
Okay. I'm wondering if they questioned the other men that she was talking to.
I believe,
I hope so.
This lead is absolutely horrible, and I hate it for her. Now this was on Pops's phone, Grandpa's phone. This wasn't on Facebook. On Grandpa's phone, after.
Okay, thank you, Katie.
After that truck incident, or one of the times they found her hiding in the woods, some weird number had called Grandpa's phone. So Dad called that number back, and he said, if you are corresponding with my daughter, she is 13 years old, and we're tracing this phone right now. Well, when the FBI tried to investigate that number, they couldn't even find nothing on that particular phone number.
Because he said we're tracing this number right now.
But Christopher, I mean, he heard the man's voice. He said hello, everything. But yet they couldn't find nothing on that particular phone number.
I would have never
And
seen us tracing this phone right now.
after that incident is when they told me that the reason they brought in the FBI that they did is because these investigators they got working the case now are able to go into Canada, and they are investing tips over in Canada as well.
But I would think that they could find any they would be able to still find him, right?
The FBI officer that's named Andrew, he was actually called in on one of the searches with the dogs, and he's not even from Maine himself. He is from Pennsylvania. He has a Pennsylvania number, but he's currently still out there working on Stefanie's case. I just spoke with him this morning.
Okay, that's good. So it's good you keeping tabs on this and stuff like that, you know?
Did I mention the gas station?
No.
Oh, I didn't mention the gas station at the Buxton Hannaford there in Maine. Oh, I thought I said something about it. Well, this morning I touched base with Andrew to find out if they had investigated a tip that one of the public had sent me, and it said that they seen Stefanie, they believe, in a gas station in Buxton Hannaford, and that she was with an older man. Her hair was dyed blue.
Oh, you did say that, but you didn't say with an older man.
Her hair was dyed blue. She would not make eye contact, stared at the floor. They bought one fountain drink, both used the restroom, and left. I sent that information over to Andrew, and I did get a message from him this morning saying that they have investigated that. I don't know how far it went, but they investigated that tip.
Wow. For her to look at the ground and not keep eye contact, if that's not her, then that's another girl that needs help.
Something that's kind of scary to me is Lisa believes that there may be people out there in them woods, deep in them woods, that are manufacturing meth and running it up to Canada. She said there are very shady, characters that you only see seldom on ATVs, and they're heading deep out into those woods, and you never see them come back out. I don't know if it's true. I know that there's a highway that runs out there that they say is used for high trafficking to bring meth from Maine, even Florida, even as far as Florida into Canada.
Yeah.
Stranger.
What would you like to say to Stefanie? If she's somewhere got it, because kids always looking at the internet. I had a runaway who was looking at the thing when I was interviewing her mother.
I would like to tell her if she's out there and she don't want to contact mom and dad, she can contact me, any of her cousins, even contact grandpa. Contact my mom.
It's okay.
I convinced myself I wasn't going to do this today.
It's okay. Tears is good. It's okay.
She's in one of those abandoned cabins. Go to a neighbor. She don't have to go back home if that's why she's running. If someone has her, please, please let her go.
That's right.
Stefanie's a good girl. She's a smart girl. That's one thing I'm grateful for. I feel like if she's found a cabin out there or something, Stefanie's a survivalist. She knows all about surviving. She knows how to live off the land. Them kids can live off the land. But she's also very impressionable. Do I believe a predator could snatch her? Definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Do I believe she would have talked and trusted someone? Yes.
Yeah.
Sadly, even an old man. Stefanie is so close to her grandpa. That's like one of her closest family members. Do I think she'd trust a old man? For sure. For sure. Is that maybe why the neighbors that she chose to go to that truck was 80 years old? Maybe why? Maybe she had spotted that neighbor and seen him out there before, you know. But I believe she would definitely trust an older man. I don't think they've been so coddled and living in seclusion like they have been. I don't think that Stefanie's aware of the dangers that lurk.
Right. Right.
I
was
really,
just, because they've been so where they live at, you know. But out
yes.
here in this world, whew, man. I really pray and hope that they find her.
Oh, bloody
If the person does have her, I pray and hope that he just lets her go.
Me too.
Because nothing good is going to come out of it.
Or that she finds a way to get away.
The FBI is involved. Okay, you know, I'm just praying.
They've got FBI involved from so many states. That's kind of alarming to me, you know, like,
because a lot of cases you don't see it. I'm sorry.
Andrew's from Pennsylvania. They've got ones from Boston. I don't understand why they're, you know, from so many different states involved, unless they are onto something that, you know, they're not releasing to the general public.
Wait, did you just say the FBI from every state is involved?
From Pennsylvania and Boston, most definitely. The FBI officer that I got his phone number, Andrew, he's from Pennsylvania.
Right, you did say that. That's right.
It's a Pennsylvania phone number. He told me himself that he is from Pennsylvania. That he's working Stefanie's case, but he's from Pennsylvania, and he can also travel into Canada, he said.
You did say that too, and I never thought about why though. Like, that's a good thing, because we don't see we barely see the FBI working in cases. You know? Definitely
a good.
But I wonder why, like what, like you said, are they onto something? That's, you know, because why would FBI in Pennsylvania, damn, that's not too far from me. Like, what?
I know a lot of people from Maine might not like me saying this.
We don't care what they think. We don't care what they think. You said
we can't ignore the fact that there's dirty police there either.
Yes, it is. It's dirty police everywhere, girl. Don't get me started.
Let's not ignore the fact that Eric Foote, a poor Marine that served our country, came up missing, was missing for 4 months, and was found dead along a riverbank. The officer, Chandler Cole, who was the sergeant of the Washburn Police Department, is now being indicted. He was placed under arrest, but get this. He was only placed under arrest for falsifying reports involving his case. Chandler Cole told Eric Foote's mother he took him to a hospital. That was not true. Eric Foote was never taken to a hospital. He then changed the story and said he dropped him off at a convenience store. That was not true. The convenience store cameras showed he was never dropped off at that location. They found that poor man's body 4 months later along the river. Chandler Cole is walking around on a $2,000 bond right now as we speak. Atena Shaw is a young woman who is still missing out there. Chandler Cole closed her case. It's now been reopened. That Washburn Police Department has now been completely closed down. Them officers that were involved in that Foote case have all been transferred to other departments.
I got it somewhere. I'm trying to show his
including the state police.
I don't know where it's at. That's a shame. She said, I ain't not sure the FBI sends out an email and asks people from whatever to come to Maine. Police up there are horrible. Girl, man, police everywhere. There's so many crooked police. It's crazy. It is crazy.
Not only that, those stories, if like I don't know why it's not allowing me to share screenshots. I don't know if you can on here or not.
Yeah.
But there's officers right now, currently in prison for this guy was a officer. God, I wish I could remember his name right now, but he was a police officer there in Maine for over 20 years. He was selling fentanyl out of his squad car. And he right now is doing time in prison. He was also selling fentanyl out of a high school parking lot to high school children there in Maine. It's disgusting. It really is. That's an officer of 20 years selling fentanyl to teenage children.
That's a shame. Y'all hear this?
Yep, a Tennis Shaw case. Yep, that's the other one with Chandler. She's never been found. Tell me how odd this is that this woman's been missing for 3 years. A young mother. There's a well on the Shaw property that's never been searched. Never been searched.
Wow. I wonder why.
A deep well has never been searched. And Chandler closed that case. It's now, been picked up by other investigators, but Chandler Cole did close that case. And she was still missing. It's been over 3 years. She's still missing.
Oh, she said the wells were searched a few months ago.
Oh, I didn't hear that. Well, that's good. That's good.
Princess says, I'm going to be covering the Italian, I can't pronounce that word.
Tennis Shaw.
A Tennis Shaw case next. Someone asked me to. I'm going to be covering the Tennis Shaw case next. So
I wish I would have invited Dan in here.
Twice.
He had as a family member that he believes he said he don't believe, he said he's 100% positive. His close friend was friends with one of the main officers, and he got her involved. He's really right about the weather, and it's scary because it's already snowed in New Sweden. And yeah, soon they are going to be under feet of snow there.
Yeah, they gotta find us a baby, man. That's right, because it's already, you said it's snowing out there already, right?
It already snowed. Someone I was talking to on Messenger, actually said, look what it's doing here right now.
Oh,
and
God.
It was snowing.
You gotta find this baby. She's only 14, y'all. I know, right, Princess? That's what I said. You gotta find her.
Must have been just a dusting, huh? It's 82 here today. We're actually gonna get decent weather for Halloween, but that's kind of scary for Illinois. It should be cold.
She's only 14. So please share. Okay. You want to say anything else?
Not really. Can't think of anything else at this time.
Yeah.
I probably will after I get off here. I'll say that's what I wanted to say. But
you got out a lot, though. I mean, you covered, from what I've talked to you yesterday, I think you covered all the basics and stuff,
Yeah.
You covered everything. All right, y'all. Chrissy said, I'd love to watch it cover. Oh, wow, something she was saying there. Okay. All right, y'all. Thank y'all for joining. This was a bang missing. There was a bag missing. Stefanie, if you see this, call someone and let them know you are safe, and if you need help, we will help you. Right? Yes. Let you know what was in the bag.
Right. So I'll stop this one and I'll go back to that other Nancy case one. I'm sure it's a different one of Nancy Grace if I haven't got rid of it. Where is it? Where's my place I was going to go to? I think this is a different one to what I had earlier. But if it's the same one, guys, just shout at me and say, it's the same one. And then I can stop it. Where was I? See. How do I make this one bigger? My thing's gone. What have they done with it?
Breaking news tonight.
There we go.
A teen girl, Stefanie, just 13, is lost in the woods, say her parents. Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. I want to thank you for being with us.
This is as remote as it gets.
But I guarantee you the next door neighbors have electricity. What do you mean?
Yeah, that's the same one. Let me just check, see if I got another one to do. Where's my website? This one, was it? Right, let's make this one smaller. Just see what my last update was. Yeah, so it says potential sightings and theories. A tip suggested that Stefanie was seen at a gas station in Buckton. Well, we heard about that with an older man. She had blue hair, avoided eye contact, and bought only one fountain drink before leaving. The FBI investigated this lead. There are concerns that drug traffickers in the deep woods of Maine may be involved, as the area is known for meth distribution and trafficking to Canada. The FBI officers from Pennsylvania and Boston are working on Stefanie's case. The involvement raised questions whether law enforcement have undisclosed information. Well, police officers don't let everybody know everything. They always keep some cards close to their chests. Concerns have been raised about corruption within the local Maine police. And then they said the case of Eric Foote, a Marine who was missing for 4 months, being found dead, highlighted issues and falsified reports by Officer Chandler Cole, who was later released and was allowed out on a very low bond. She's just said about another case involved that Maine police officer selling fentanyl from his squad car to high school students. That's just crazy. I think that might be all, unless... Let me see what this one was. Right. I can't remember if I played this. It's been so long now. I've got lost to what I've played. Let me just share this one. I should do this one news, and then I'm sure I've did this one, but then we'll end it for there, guys.
At Fields Realty, we're not just about buying and selling.
We don't. Oh gosh. No, we don't do adverts. Bear with me. Oh dear. Let me see where I can skip. No, you're not going to let me skip. No, that one's going to just do adverts. Let me see if there's any more tips. That one I've just done, so I could get rid of that one. So on the published, yeah, so that was an old news report. Let's see. This one, what date was this paper? Right, so on the Daily Mail, I can take off my headphones now because there's no noise coming through my ears. On the Daily Mail, published on the Saturday, the 4th of April, this year, 2026. It says, well, let me screenshot it and then I can read it to you. Share screen. My mouse, I need to get my son to sort my mouse out. Just check you can see that and let me get rid of that one. Scroll it up a bit and then I can see if you can see what I'm seeing. Yeah. So it says major update in the case of Stefanie Damron as FBI announces huge reward for information about a disappearance. Read more. Mystery as teenage girl 14 vanishes after wandering into the woods. FBI and Maine State Police are offering the $15,000 to anyone with information about the disappearance of Stefania. I thought it was Stefanie, not Stefania Damron, 14-year-old girl who vanished into the woods in September. Damron vanished on the 23rd of September, we know it's 2024, after walking into the woods near her New Sweden home. Teenage girl is described as 5 foot tall, weighing 130 pounds, with striking green eyes and shoulder-length brown hair, according to Facebook by the Maine Police Department. She was last seen wearing blue jeans, long-sleeve blue shirt, and the black Harley-Davidson hiking boots. Authorities have recently obtained 2 new photographs of Damron to aid the search efforts, with the most recent previous image showing her with a flower in her hair of summer 24. So that photo there was her latest one. In an announcement today, they made a fresh appeal for new information. The multi-agency search has been extensive, with the Maine Warden Service and Maine State Police K9 unit conducting exhaustive ground searches. Investigators have pursued leads across Maine, nationally, and even into Canada. So that was the other picture. As of now, Stefanie still remains missing, with the Major Crimes Unit continuing to work closely with the FBI. Anyone with any information is urged to contact the Maine State Police Houghton Barracks immediately. Last month, after extensive efforts by Maine State Police and the FBI's Child Abduction Rapid Response Team, a report revealed that the girl remains missing. State police added that all available resources have been utilized in order to find the missing girl, including collaborations with the state's computer crimes unit and the FBI. Ongoing search efforts for the missing girl have also inspired locals of a small town and those surrounding areas to come together and search for anything that may lead them to the missing teen. Despite the community's push to find the girl, searchers say that Damron family has declined to become involved. We're not going to stop until we find Whitney Nichols, who has helped to lead the citizen search party, said. The disappearance comes years after the Damron family moved to New Sweden from Texas following what a member called a CPS fiasco. So she had CPS involved at some point. Stefanie's father, Christopher Damron, said in 2019 Facebook post that the family would be heading to Maine away from these bad memories. While living in Rusk, Texas, Stefanie's parents were arrested after officers found them allegedly intoxicated inside of McDonald's while the two of their children were in the car, according to police report obtained by the dailymail.com. The children involved were not identified. Following the incident, Damron's mum, Lisa, was initially charged with abandoning a child with intent to return, but she later pleaded to a lesser charge of deadly conduct and received a deferred sentence. In the post after Damron's disappearance, Lisa Marie claims Stefanie got into an argument with her sister while her parents were away and she walked off. That's it on that one. So yeah, so that's not really a great deal to what we already know. But I will be keeping an eye on this. I think the FBI is involved because if the local police can't do anything, it's like with the Nancy Guthrie case. If the police are not doing much, then I think the FBI wants to step in because they have more tools and resources to, find missing people, and they have a lot more bodies on the ground, so to speak. So I think that's probably why. But over the weekend, I will do another deep dive into this case and see if there's anything that flags up from before the parents moved, because obviously CPS was involved. So they might have a bit more of a shady background, hence why they wanted to go out, live in the middle of the woods and, just basically disappear from everybody. It's never been said that when the day Stefanie went missing, the parents were in town filling out job applications. That has never been proven as true or false. So we need to find Stefanie, same as so many other missing children that are cold cases like Sebastian and Jack and Lily. And, there's loads of cold cases that we need to find out. I will definitely do a deeper dive on the parents. And if any of you do over the weekend, because I know our time difference is different, like tonight when I'm sleeping, it'll be your daytime. So you can always email me with anything that you find. And then perhaps I can do a part 2 on this story, because the more I dug today, there's more worms coming out of the woodwork. And, you know, it's not cut as crystal glass, as I call it. There's flaws somewhere, and you need to dig a bit deeper with your spade. And she went missing on the 23rd of September 2024. But the parents waited nearly a day before they reported Stefanie missing, because they thought you had to wait 24 hours before you could report someone missing. Now, at the beginning of my video live, I did say that if you wasn't sure, you had to definitely wait 24 hours to report a missing person. The most common thing you would think a normal person would do is phone the police up and say, is it 24 hours before I need to report a child missing? Or is that false? Can I report her now? And there's no way the police would wait 24 hours for a child to be reported missing, because a lot can happen in those 24 hours. And that, so we, you know, we really need to know where she is. And, you know, if she was picked up by these older men, I didn't know about that one. So I'm going to have a look and to see if I can find any of these Facebook posts and things. I know many years ago, my son's 28 now, when he was about 9 or 10, we just moved into a new housing estate in Wiltshire, and we was at the only second family on that estate, because, you know, the first neighbours, they were about 5 doors away from us. They were the first ones moved in, and we were the second family to move in. And I'd split up with my children's father at the time, and I couldn't find Jamie. And, you know, I thought, well, where has he gone? He was only in the back garden. And then he was riding his bike in the garages, and I got distracted by a phone call. And it was like 10 minutes after I couldn't find him in the house and sort of like going outside calling for him, I decided to phone the police up. And I phoned the police up. Then I phoned his father up and said, Jamie's gone missing. Can you come over and help? And then the police had phoned back about 20 minutes later saying, have I got a photograph of him so they can distribute it? And they were just about to launch the helicopter, because Jamie had epilepsy, and, you know, it was critical if he had a seizure. And woe behold, my ex came over and knocked on the neighbour's door that was 5 or 6 doors away and said, I don't suppose your children have seen Jamie, because he'd played with them. And he was upstairs in the bedroom playing on the Xbox. I was really relieved that he wasn't missing, and that he was safe in the neighbour's house. But, you know, I couldn't drummed it into Jamie more afterwards that if he leaves the, you know, the car park area, which was deemed safe because it had CCTV up and everything, for him to let me know where he was going. So, you know, I was panicking like anything. I couldn't even dial 999 on my phone for the police, and that I was so nervous. But yeah, so, you know, I don't know where people got this 24 hours from, because it's just crazy. No one in their right mind would have let their child go missing and not report them for 24 hours. I wouldn't even be able to sleep, not knowing wait 24 hours. It'd drive me crazy. It really would. So, yeah, so I'm definitely going to do a bigger dive on this case, because this is a bit twisted. And I might even mention it to Jay as well, to see if she's ever covered this story and what she thought on it. I know Jay asked me once to go live with her on one of her live shows to discuss a case and that. So maybe this one would be a good case to discuss. So yeah, so I hope you all enjoyed this. I know every creator is different. I'm not like Jay when I create my content. I also have dyslexia as well. So sometimes when I'm reading stuff off the internet, my tongue gets tongue-tied and I don't pronounce the words properly. But that's because when I look at certain words, I know what it says by my eyesight, but what comes out my mouth is totally different. So, you know, I do struggle sometimes when I do reading off the internet, especially if there's loads and loads of documents to read through. So yeah, so right, so I will end this now. So I really do appreciate everyone coming in today and those that joined in the chat. It does mean a lot to me, and I really appreciate it. I know some of you are liked and shared this live. If you could still do the same, if you haven't already, I'd really appreciate that. And next time I do a live, I will try and aim it for mid-afternoon my time. So this one I started at 3, no, it wasn't 3:19. I can't remember what time I started. But if I start it around about 1 p.m. my time, it should be early evening your time. Oh, thank you, Far. Yeah. So, you know, maybe I need to do my lives about 1 o'clock. So that'd be early evening for you lot. But I've got to make sure that I don't do a midnight one because you'll be on Jay's one. Yeah, so yeah, it is interesting. You know, I just searched up on missing children and this one came up and I thought, right, okay, let's do some research. Let's see if there's any law and crime that have covered it. And I saw Nancy Grace had, and I love her. I love her temperament. It's 10:38. Oh, so it's now 4:33 p.m. for me, and it's 10:30 a.m. for you. So yeah, I'm gonna have to get a world clock out and, you know, try and work out a good time when to do a live. And what I will do is I'll try and schedule it like Jay does so that you know what time it is. And if you set your notifications to all, when I do go live, you'll notice, you get notified. So, right, guys, thank you very much again. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I really do. It makes a lot of difference to me because I've done lives before and no one's turned up in the chat. So I'm just sat here just talking to myself. But yeah, so it does make a nice change to have a few people in chat today. So, you know, I do appreciate it and I do thank you. 2:30 a.m. for you. Oh my God, Far. In half an hour. Well, that's crazy. We turned our clocks back last Sunday. It's Saturday evening, well, Saturday late afternoon for us. So it's Easter Day tomorrow for us in the UK. So, you know, it is crazy. And it was nice for a few days that before, when our clocks went back, it meant Jay was on at 11 p.m. rather than 12 midnight. So it was nice to actually catch her an hour early. But I've still got to watch Jay's one from last night because I wasn't feeling too well. So I went to bed mega early. And I missed her one, so I will be watching her one shortly. Yeah, I will do, Kimberly. I'll keep on going. And like I said earlier, if anyone wants to be a mod, please send me an email because at the moment I don't have any mods. There's no sort of amount of mods that one person can have. So it'd be nice to have some mods just in case you do get someone that comes into the chat and, you know, starts trying to cause trouble. Even though I do try and keep an eye on the chat. While it's like this, when there's only a handful of us in, it's quite easy to keep an eye on the chat. But if you land up having, I don't know, 300 people in on chat, it's difficult to watch every single chat that's typed. Oh, Jay's on your timeline. Okay. So, right, I'm going to end that because I want to find something for my din-dins. I don't know if it's going to be a jacket potato with cheese, or if I'm going to be naughty and order a Domino's pizza. I do like my garlic bread, so I might order pizza, see what my son wants for dinner. So, okay then, right. Thank you all again. I really do appreciate it. I can't state that enough. I really do appreciate everyone. So like I said, my email's at the bottom there, truecrimefiles2026@gmail.com. Yeah, definitely a pizza any night of the week. And that. So, all right then, guys. Bye. See you later when my mouse moves over. See ya.